The head and body of the octopus were made with a brick wall pattern. The wall is fairly easy to construct. It's based on airship balloons. Everything in the octopus was done using 646s. I'm using a 524 here, a little bit shorter than the 646, only to make it a little more manageable in the small space we're working in. What we have here are chains of 5 balloons. I'm taking 2 chains together, tied together at the end, and I'm going to start joining them and using a 260 to hold that twist together. We're going to work our way down the balloon doing exactly the same thing, a twist to hold the airships together, and then a 260 to hold it in place. That 260 is going to be very important in a moment. Now, when we built the octopus, all of the balloons matched. They were the same color, because what was important was the brick wall pattern, not the 260s that were binding it. For the sake of demonstration, we're using different colors to allow you the opportunity to actually see what's going on and follow the pattern carefully. Once we've finished one string of these, we're going to put that aside for a moment and start another one. You'll notice on this particular string, this first string, the bubbles sticking out the bottom are quite small. We could have actually just tied a knot with the 260 so it sticks up, having no bubble at all there. On this next string, however, we're going to leave a fair amount of space. The reason for that will become obvious in a minute when we go to put the two together. Okay, well here's our, let me just hold this up. Here's our second string now. This is going to be the second layer of the wall, with large bubbles sticking down, otherwise just a pair of 2 long chains of 524s put together. Another difference between what I'm showing here, demonstrating on a small scale, and on the octopus, is the octopus was round. So rather than just having a straight line, we had large circles like this, also just double chains closed off and joined together in exactly the same way. I'm going to put this together now. I'm going to join the second chain with the first. And like in a brick wall, we're going to offset the balloons by half. So you can see now how the second row is extending past the first one. The balloon used here, joining that first row of bubbles, will be slid through that second chain, trapped. So that balloon is trapped between 2 balloons above it. And here's where I was saying that it's important to have the long bubble sticking down from on the second row, because that bubble will also be trapped inside the first row of balloons. We'll just continue that pattern. Long bubble gets inserted between the bubbles below it. Next one over, long bubble going upward gets inserted between the bubbles that fit above it. Last one, same thing. Insert it. And you can see now how we have the first 2 layers in a wall, in a brick wall. Balloons offset, every layer up, offset by half from the previous layer. We can take another layer and just stack it on top of this, again lined up now with the bottom row. The same pattern just gets continued from the bottom up. With each additional row that gets added, we no longer need to add more 260s. We can use the 260s that are already here. I'm twisting my airships together as we go, either trapping the 260 between them or twisting a 260 if it comes up and lines up with knots. We trap that one in the middle and wrap the one that lines up with the knots. We have a fair amount of wall constructed already. We don't need to add any more 260s. We have all of them already coming up from before. So as we add each new row now, we'll just use the existing balloons and slide them through. Alternate layers lining up. This layer lined up with the 1-2 below. As with the 260s coming up, if they line up with the center of the balloons, they'll pass through, getting trapped between them. If the 260 coming up lines up with a knot, it'll get twisted on. So here we have another one that lines up with the center of the balloons. It gets trapped in the middle. Next one here lines up with a knot, so we'll twist it in place. We reach the very end here. We don't have another balloon coming off the end, so I just take this balloon that still lines up with a knot, wrap it around, and lock the end in place. When working with something large like the Octopus that was a big circle, it wasn't necessary to worry about ends. There were no ends. Everything was enclosed. But this wall is so strong that it's not necessary to actually have it enclosed or tied at the end. It will hold together and support itself without any problem. This variation on the brick wall pattern came from Royal Sorel. The original brick wall pattern that I used was just a little bit more complicated than this, took a little more work. And Royal has a tendency of simplifying everything I do.